Everyone always wants to know, like, how did you come from, the southeast corner, right above the Florida Panhandle, to working on these multi-million-dollar campaigns and all these big clients? I never hide who I am, and I feel like that's what makes me good at what I do. I didn't even have any really creative hobbies growing up. I was just like, I went to school to be an English teacher at Troy, Dothan. I found a bunch of old cameras that were my grandfather's. They were really cool, like old box cameras, some like little brownies. I just thought they were beautiful and I didn't want to have them sitting around, so I started looking up YouTube videos and taught myself how to clean them and restore them, and then eventually started shooting with them. And that was just kind of it. I was like, this is fascinating and beautiful. And then there was like a connection to my grandfather who had passed before I was even born. I started really diving into like alternative methods of shooting and processing, whether it be putting like a prism filter onto a lens, or what I really love and have done a lot is soaking. So like I'll soak like the whole canister of 35 millimeter in like dish soap and something acidic. You have to rinse it, and then I let it dry in the windowsill for usually around a month before you can even shoot it. It's like a labor of love process, so it's not an instant gratification thing, which kind of makes you become attached to the film itself, or for me it does. But then when it comes out, you don't know what you're getting. Who knows? And it can either be really sticky and gross and nothing is there, or it's just really beautiful and it's something special and you have no idea, but no one else can replicate that either. And it looks like something that came out of a dream. I went to New York to visit my sister in my third year of school, and it just like, it clicked. Like, this is my place. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I have to go. And I dropped out of school and packed up everything, couch surfed for 3 months, and then found my first job as an admin in an advertising agency. I worked for the head of a creative department as her assistant, and she was just really sweet and open and would ask my opinion on things, even though she didn't need it. And she saw my personal photography work one day. She just like, I don't know how, but anyway, she got to my website, she saw my personal work. She was like, what are you doing? Like, you have a great eye, you have great taste, you should be an art buyer. I'm gonna help you get there because I know that there's potential here. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. Like, growing up, I was told like, hey, you can be an accountant, you can be a nurse, be a school teacher. And that's kind of really all I remembered. And I was like, I don't know what an art buyer is, but it sounds cool and I love art, like, let's get it. So I started helping the production department look for stock imagery, because that's the first step into production and advertising. It's just like purchasing stock photos, right? Which is kind of boring, but you still have to have an eye for it. You have to find what doesn't look super fake, what might look more natural. And I think, the ultimate goal for advertising is like, yes, they're trying to sell stuff, but essentially you really need to make some sort of emotional connection. Then I started searching for photographers and directors and just trying to insert myself in every project. And I was like, well, maybe I know somebody, because I've been in the photography community constantly looking for inspiration for my own work. I already had this Rolodex of people that I loved and I thought were amazing. I'm like, okay, maybe these are more fine art photographers because that's what I love, but why can't this be applied to advertising? Why does everything have to look so addy? When a client sends us a brief, they usually are just giving us their goal and what they want to get out of it and their market. And I look at the creative and then determine who is the best person. It's like, okay, this photographer could turn this into something that's really high art and feels like fashion. Or maybe this photographer who's also a director, and we could do a few motion pieces for it, and maybe this will be a more fun and poppy way to do it. And then everybody looks at those lists and thinks about the different ways to execute it. Not many people get to do this and like literally love what they do every day and get to be constantly inspired by finding new photographers, finding new directors and artists, and being able to work with people that are just incredible and inspiring. I never thought that I would be shooting a commercial and art directing and producing stills with Harmony Korine. It's humbling. What makes my job really fun is bringing my like innate passion and love for art and photography and making sure that that's integrated into my advertising work, not just my personal work. I want everything to kind of have a little bit of my stamp on it, like the Darnell stamp. I am a creative producer because I think it's important to embrace who you are. If you want to be a creative and you want to find what you're really good at and passionate about and integrate that into a lifelong career, I think you have to embrace the person that you are. It might take a minute to find it. It took me a minute to figure out who I was, but then really dive into it because people will love it. You will find the industry or the person that latches onto that is like, this type of freak that you are is important and is cool, and this is what you should be doing, and lean into what kind of things you're bringing to the table that might be a little bit different.